Ladies and gentlemen, here we go into game number 1 between Liquid HerO and Six Jackson. Nope, it's Gosu Vibe, excuse me. I didn't change his name apparently. Good grief. Nevertheless, we're going to be heading over to NASL's The Shattered Temple.
Oh, I cannot wait for this match, Andre. This is going to be a PvZ on Shattered Temple. Of course, cross positions only on NASL Shattered Temple should give us a nice opportunity for a fantastic macro game. I'm so excited because these players are, it's just going to be absolutely insane, this matchup, because of course Vibe, a very, very high APM, quick Zerg player with great mechanics. Of course, his opponent HerO, a Protoss player known for multi-pronged aggression, a lot of really unique and fantastic builds, Templar usage as well. So I'm really looking forward to see, is Vibe going to have, you know, with his great multitasking, will he be able to defend that multi-pronged aggression a little bit more effectively than some of the other Zergs have been falling to HerO?
You know, HerO, we've said it time and time again, his PvZ is quite inspirational.
Absolutely.
The guy has just an amazing PvZ, and I always look to him to say, what do I do in this matchup? Because, you know, it's kind of a time where Protoss are a little bit lost, I have to say, in finding what to do in this matchup. And HerO always seems to connect the dots so well. And look, right away we have something kind of different coming out. I mean, we've seen this before, but a lot of times it does fail. We're going to see a Forge expand on this map.
Yeah, and the reason why it is different is because on a map like Shattered Temple, it is a little bit more difficult to get that Forge expansion up since you don't have a small choke point to wall off. It is wider, so you have to use your Nexus as part of your wall off here, which can just make it a little bit more risky against builds like 8-pool, 6-pool, or even just really early speedling run-bys or baneling busts. Of course, that's not what we're seeing here from Vibe at the moment, so HerO should be okay, at least for it now. We are going to see a 14-pool going down, though, from Vibe, so if he comes in there with some early Zerglings, essentially HerO might have to use just, like, you know, a couple little nice tricks, like using the pylon block at the natural to force the Zerglings to stay there, kill those before going over to his base. Otherwise, he probably won't have that full wall off or cannon in time to stop them.
Yep, and I do like that. It looks like the this will be a Forge Nexus and then getting some cannons. I'm interested to see if HerO is going for the gateway first before the cannons or not, just trying to squeeze out every ounce of that tech.
Yeah, I think it, I mean, it might be a good idea on some maps, but on this map, particularly when he sees the 14 pool, that timing just seems a little bit too risky to me. You know, if he didn't have the cannon up right away after that Nexus, Zerglings might just be able to run straight up into his base and he wouldn't have anything to defend. So I don't think we'll see that, but you know, it is always a possibility, especially after a player like HerO who can just pull anything out of his hat. And look at that, he lets the pylon finish at the natural, so we might be seeing a cannon rush go on here. If he gets the opportunity, maybe not. I mean, he might just be using that pylon to force the Lings to kill it, as I was explaining earlier. But it does seem strange that he dropped it down before there was even a drone trying to make the hatchery and just let it finish early on. But he does have the Nexus on the way, and there's, you know what, it is going to be a gateway first. So you know what, if Vibe were to actually send his Zerglings straight to HerO's base, he would have absolutely nothing to defend. But of course, that pylon, Vibe doesn't realize this because his Overlord is not over that that Forge expansion. So he's unfortunately going to miss that opportunity.
Yeah, of course, it just takes advantage of your opponent not knowing what you're doing, so technically Vibe can't go and push out because there's supposed to be a cannon right there. Nevertheless, the cannon gets started a little bit later, and it will be in time for these Zerglings eventually working their way over to that natural.
Yeah, they're going to come over, but they'll see that the cannon is already complete, so won't be able to actually get into that base, so of course that timing was missed. But, of course, it's not that bad for Vibe. He might have missed a timing where he could have gotten himself a nice little advantage there, but, of course, he got the hatchery up earlier. If he had sent the Zerglings straight over, then, of course, he wouldn't have been able to make that hatchery since the pylon was still there, and it would have been a big risk to take. He's going to try to send these Zerglings over, but there is a second cannon already up for HerO, so he's able to pretty easily defend here. Might be able to put just a little bit of pressure on some probes on, like, the top mineral patch here or something, so it's good that Vibe's being active with these Zerglings doing anything he can. Also keeping track of the scouting information, seeing what's over here. Might be able to catch when the gas geysers go down. But the Cybernetic score is already about 2/3 of the way done from HerO, and interestingly, he's only taken one gas. Almost every Protoss after Forge expansion we see take a really, really quick double gas. I mean, it's going down now. That's actually quite a bit later than we normally see, so it's possible we're going to see either just a more macro-oriented build from HerO where he wants to be able to chrono those probes a little bit more, or some hyper-aggression where he doesn't need quite as much gas for it. We also see, oh my god, look at this at the 6 o'clock. A third has already been going down from Vibe, and it looks like HerO has scouted it and is putting a forward pylon there already. But oh, Vibe, so smart, is going to go check, and he sees the probe. He's probably going to find that pylon if he's careful. He should realize that if the probe's there's probably a pylon. He's going to check around with that Zergling. That's going to be absolutely fantastic for him, since the pylon from HerO not going to be able to do anything just yet, since, of course, Warp Gate's only about a quarter of the way done.
Yeah, and it looks like HerO is putting on some aggression. This is actually very fast Zealot Stalker aggression based on the Forge Fast expand. This is a little bit tricky to actually do. We'll see. Is Metabolic Boost upgraded? Yes, it is. So Vibe does have that Zergling speed. This is just to force his opponent to start making some Zerglings. And we can see also 3 gateways behind this. Vibe is going to spot this out, and he should be able to act appropriately.
This is going to be great scouting information. He also, of course, found that pylon, but the Stalker is moving over with the Zealot to that pylon. Unfortunately, Vibe has been making nothing but drones literally this entire time, just now making 14 Zerglings. I don't know if he might have gotten those a little bit too late, but of course, with Warp Gate still just a little bit a ways, I feel like he'll be fine simply because it's going to take so long for the Zealot and Stalker to kill the hatchery. Should be able to get those units up in time to properly defend, and I like that he used one of his early, Queen energies to actually make that Creep Tumor in his main base to connect those bases, as opposed to just continuing that lava production when he went for such an early third base.
All right, so let's see what Vibe does. He's actually going to swing around and just surround all these units. The Zealots are still... Zealot is kind of choked in there. And now finally Stalker goes down. Zerglings will be able to surround the Zealot fully and then take out that one pylon. It's so important to take out that pylon. But oh, the Warpin is actually going to come in before the Zerglings kill the pylon. That's going to enable them to start doing additional damage. Makes it so hard because there's so many little chokes within these with these minerals.
Luckily, the Queen is out, though, so it'll be able to add on some ranged damage here while these Zerglings surround the Zealots. Nice micro by Vibe. Is trying to get that full surround, although right now he doesn't have any on both sides. But you'll be able to take out all of these Zealots. So unfortunately, HerO really unable to do almost any damage there. He was able to force some Zerglings instead of drones. But it was pretty late. Vibe was able to continue making those drones as long as he pretty much wanted to. So they are kind of even on Harvesters right now, but of course the third base is already up for Vibe, so he can just drone up right now. The problem is that HerO knows about that third base. I feel like with that placement, Vibe was probably trying to keep that a secret, and now that HerO knows about it, he might be able to, bring in some type of early aggression. I'm surprised he didn't go for a Robo for War Prism usage down there. But it's going to be a little bit harder for Vibe to defend that base without the creep spread. He still has not moved those creep tumors down towards that third base, and it's going to be quite a while before he'll actually have what he needs to defend. Yeah. Still making 8 more drones here, and there's a macro hatch, so looks like he is going to go for some big 3-base macro play.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. HerO is now going to push out. He only has 4 total warp gates. Now, because he has 4 warp gates, it comes a lot faster. He's able to actually prioritize his upgrades very well. It looks like a Dark Shrine is on the way. He's not actually opting to use this Twilight Counts for any of the upgrades. It's very peculiar.
I am very confused by that. He actually went for +1 armor as opposed to continuing +2 weapons. I would have thought with that early Twilight Council, it would have been a better idea to continue +2 weapons, as of course, if you can keep that weapons upgrade above your Zerg opponent, you can just be two-shotting Zerglings with those Zealots that he is relying very heavily on with this pure Zealot-centric composition. But he's going to come in here and Vibe, completely unprepared, has 18 Zerglings and 3 Roaches on the way, but it might just be too late, especially with that lack of creep spread. These units are just target firing down the hatchery. Vibe coming in with some units on the surround on the sentries, but it won't be enough. The Zealots are protecting them. Force fields go down to isolate those Roaches out there, and he's just going to target fire the hatchery with the sentries. I don't know if it'll be enough, though. These Zealots are dying to the Roaches. Vibe may just have gotten barely enough units just in time to defend this aggression from HerO.
This is perfect, actually. Vibe will be able to clean this up relatively easy. But this is the problem. The second wave of Dark Templars that will be coming in. It looks like Stalkers were made after that, and he didn't actually use it. So HerO is just chilling on the top of this ramp. But I don't think Vibe has any indication to know Dark Templars are coming, because again, the upgrades weren't shown. Nothing was shown. It's going to be really tough, I think, for Vibe to come back from this huge Dark Templar round.
Oh my god, and he has the Evo Chamber, but no spores. I mean, this is what like every Protoss is going to do out of a Forge expansion. You've got to see it coming now. The DTs are going to target fire the hatchery. It's going to die in a matter of seconds, and all of a sudden, Vibe has gone from being in a great position to being way, way behind now. Going to be forced to send all those drones back to his natural, but of course, he's just going to be oversaturated there, so they're not going to do that much benefit for him, but he's going to go perhaps for a Zerg and counterattack the natural. No, he's going to check for the third. What? He's going to take out the rocks for HerO. I don't know why he would want to let HerO take an easier third base here. But whatever. Maybe Vibe has some magical wisdom to this that we're not seeing. That we'll figure out later. In any case, he does now have an Overseer up, but the DT is still getting kills in the natural. Looks like this one Dark Templar has 5 kills. There is none in the main. I'm trying to find, where did he send all of the Dark Templar? I guess most of them have already been cleaned up, of course, by that Overseer and those units. Now he's going to take out the rocks leading up to that top third. And it looks like Vibe did realize, wait a minute, I shouldn't be taking out the rocks as a goal. That makes no sense whatsoever. So he stopped killing that, but they only have a third of the HP left. So HerO might be able to take an expansion there a little bit earlier, but look at that. He's going to take the top left expansion. So the fact that Vibe has already started killing off these rocks is going to be so useful for him because most Protosses will wall that off. And of course, if he can kill the rocks before it's walled off, it'll be that much harder for HerO to defend.
You can see a push out from HerO right now, trying to take a little bit of space. That's going to be the worst thing ever. Does HerO actually see that these destructible rocks are being targeted down? No, he does not. That's a big problem, because now the Zerglings will run in and deny this Nexus immediately. Yeah,
this is going to be so annoying from HerO. Oh, and no, he's sending his entire army back to defend as well. You know, with that warp in, he's still not going to be able to save the Nexus. It's going to die anyways. I feel like the best course of action right there would just be to counterattack. Vibe had basically no army, you know, at home. He had essentially a couple roaches. I'm looking back, it was like 15 roaches is basically what he would have been defending against that giant Stalker Sentry army. So unfortunately, HerO may have just missed his timing by going back to defend the third and unsuccessfully defending it anyways. And he is going to be behind now. I mean, this has been such a back and forth game now. He is going to be a little bit behind since Vibe has now taken the gold, and that is up. Unfortunately, it looks like we have some BattleNet lag here. But both players are going to be on 3 base. Their timings aren't that far apart. The difference is, of course, this isn't like the 6 o'clock. Vibe now has a gold base. That's going to give him so much income so quickly.
Yeah, and Vibe, all he needs to do right now is defend, because he gets this gold expansion up, and it's a big advantage for him, especially with that macro hatch. He can really use all of his larva. You can see that HerO is pressuring up right now. The big thing about HerO, look at his upgrades. 2-1, 3-1 on the way. Let's look at Vibes right now. It is at 0-1 for the roaches, and I believe it's 1-0. Yes, it is 1-0 for the melee attacks. So big upgrade coming out from an upgrade advantage coming out from HerO, and he's just waiting for his +3 to kick in, and I'm pretty sure he will start attacking after that.
The only reason I'm not so sure is because we see the robotics bay just now completing for HerO. So, you know, with that tech, he's probably going to want to wait to build up that Colossus count before actually moving out. Wouldn't want to move out with like 1 or 2 Colossi without range. Probably going to want to wait for, you know, 3 or 4, unless he's going to use that for something like Warp Prism Speed. But no, we do see the Colossus on the way. But look at this Vibe, even though he's just gotten his 3rd base up and just got that 6th gas up and trying to take the 4th right now, he's getting I mean, he already has Hive Tech, Greater Spires on the way, and Adrenal Glands that'll help out this mass speeding composition he's going for so much. Now he's going to be at 2-1 upgrades for the Zerglings. So you know what, if he hits this timing, there is about, you know, like 60 seconds or so before HerO's going to have 3-1, and he will be even on upgrades with those Lings. If he can get Adrenal Glands finished as well, that'll help him out so much. Looks like 6 Corruptors are on the way to be able to be made into those Broodlords. So Vibe has a nice tech advantage right now. HerO's going to have to rely on that upgrade advantage to pull himself into the mid game.
Yeah, it's definitely a good advantage, though. Upgrades are just so invaluable, especially at this stage of the game where it all comes down to those bigger battles where upgrades make much more of a relative effect in the army. We can see actually Vibe is pushing forward. Guardian Shield is baited, and he's just going to run away. The Observer sees everything that's going on.
What is Vibe doing? He sends in... Oh, he just suicided 16 Zerglings. He didn't get a single kill, didn't even do hull damage, so unfortunately a little bit of a mistake there from Vibe. Every Zergling is going to count in an engagement like this. He's got to be careful. He really doesn't want to be losing these Zerglings inefficiently like this. There's so much entry energy. This is going to be a really tough engagement. He needs to get really fantastic fungals if he wants to actually be able to take out this army. And he does have a couple infestors here, but I don't know if it'll be enough. It seems like his whole army is in one spot where it can be force fielded. Now he's going to go to try to spread out his army. Maybe he'll get a surround. He's just essentially trying to delay right now since the 5 Broodlords are on the way. 30 more Zerglings as well. HerO is trying to find a good position to engage. He's going to move forward towards his 3rd base, but he might get caught off guard if these Broodlords pop out and start engaging right onto his army. Now the Stalker's moving forward, engaging onto the hatchery. He's going to try to target fire it down as quickly as possible. Dark Templar in there doing a bunch of damage as well. Zergling's trying to pick off one lone Colossus. HerO does get it picked off. Unfortunately, Vibe does not want to engage into those force fields though, so he's in a tough spot. And oh no, the Broodlords get blinked under. They're taking a ton of damage. He loses 4 of the Broodlords. 1 is still alive, not being target fired, but there's the target fire, and it looks like the huge surround from Vibe will be able to pick off this army though. Yeah,
this is just insane. Now Infestors popping out, those infested Terrans, everything getting cleaned up, but these Colossus doing so much damage. The +3 timing attack will get destroyed,
Look
but
at
it takes
6 o'clock, man.
Both expansions. Holy crap. Dark Templar was able to take that expansion completely out, and now HerO, even though he lost his main army, he's staying defensive, and he is way ahead because there's no way that that Vibe is going to be able to kill off this top left base. And look at this, a huge tech switch going up to Void. Void Rays.
This is going to be a great tech switch since Vibe has been relying so heavily on Zergling Roach and, of course, Broodlords. So, I mean, he might have Corruptors, but most of them will be morphed into Broodlords. So, and unfortunately, he's not scouted that 12 o'clock main. If Vibe just had a little bit more active scouting right now, he'd be able to pick off that base for sure. HerO would not be able to defend that position. But, of course, since the Dark Templar killed the 6 o'clock base and his attack killed the gold base of Vibe, he's at an unbelievable disadvantage right now. He can't afford to lose this army because he will simply die to a counterattack to HerO if he loses this army, since he does not have the economy to rebuild. Yeah,
so for now, Vibe has to go back, take double expansions. It looks like the bottom right is now being taken, but the Dark Templar is going to go back there. And look at that. He just sees it and he says, okay, I will let you finish. It's okay. You can finish. That way, he cannot cancel a little bit later on. He can get maybe drone kills, things like that. It's so useful. HerO just playing so cleverly.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little bit shocked by, you know, Vibe. We usually think of him as such a high APM player. He is at 260 APM right now, even with the changes. But look at his queens, man. I see 3 queens, all with 200 energy. Okay, he just did some larva injections, but look at his creep spread. He does not have the creep spread he needs throughout the center of the map, throughout his different bases. That's why he's having so much trouble defending. And if you were actually using that energy right now to throw down some creep tumors and you know, be diligent about that creep spread, he'd be in a much better position defending these big pushes that are coming out from HerO.
Yeah, I think so. It's really hurting Vibe, to be honest. And we can see HerO with the much smaller APM is able to just out-multitask his opponent. Again, Dark Templar is going to go back here. Finally, the bottom right is under attack. The drones are going to go down. It looks like this one Dark Templar has 12 kills. And additional are going to go down right now. 3-2 upgrades for those Dark Templar units. 2-1 for Zerglings, and it looks like, let's say, the Roaches are still at 0-1. So a huge suffer of upgrades from Vibe.
Yeah, he is a little bit behind there. You know, I'm really confused. There we go. Okay, I was about to say, I mean, this is kind of Zerg versus Protoss 101 here. Drop a spore and a spine at each base. Finally, we see Vibe doing that, but he hasn't been doing it all game. He still doesn't want to have one at the gold, and we see a Dark Templar about to walk in there. What is Vibe doing? This is just kind of like the most, the oldest trick in the book. Like, he should know to have detection at each one of his bases. Yeah, obviously, if you have that... Oh, and a blink into the main right now. Excuse me. Hold that thought. He's going to try to pick off the Roach Warren. This is going to be so detrimental for Vibe. Nice. Transfuses going off, but not quite enough. He could have transfused that 2 more times. Unfortunately, did not have the micro to do it. Now he's not going to be able to make any more Roaches. But, I mean, that's what I was saying, man. With no Dark Templar defense, he's losing so much right now. And, yeah, you can send in, like, 3 Dark Templar to snipe a Spore, but then they've committed much more to that harass. And when you pick them off with the Overseer, it's that much better. It also delays them killing your drones. So unfortunately, Vibe is just making a ton of you know, not high level mistakes here. It's really unfortunate, and it seems like maybe HerO is just getting inside Vibe's head.
Yeah, and we can see back at HerO's composition. Look at how many zealots he has. He has a total of 7 zealots. That means the rest of this army is so gas intensive. HerO consistently being able to make this huge gas army. We can see the army tab. Let's go ahead and look at it. 3,100 pumped into that army, and getting 3,100 gas is so difficult for a Protoss player, especially in this matchup. You know, Vibe, on the other hand, he is looking still pretty strong. He's just playing defensive. But again, the continual harass. Now 2 Dark Templars coming in here. It's getting too much for me right now.
Yeah, and you know what, man? It's 4 base versus 5 base. Never a situation you want to be in as a Zerg player behind a base versus a Protoss. Vibe has just continuously had his expansions denied all game. He's continuously had probes killed all game. The workers kill tab is just ridiculously lopsided. 46 workers killed by HerO, only 3 killed by Vibe this game, so he has not really been doing much harass. I mean, he did snipe the top left base once earlier on, but that's about it all game long. He's really just playing overly defensive right now, and I feel like if you're going to play this defensively and not put any pressure on a Protoss who's mass expanding, you need to mass expand as well while you're being defensive. You can't just be defensive and sit down a base versus a Protoss player. Maybe use this defensive position with these Broodlords and Infestors to go take those 2 bases at the 6 o'clock position. We're going to see HerO moving forward to try to pick out the gold base yet again. Vibe's entire army is all in this one position. A ton of Void Rays here from HerO are going to be doing so much damage. The Corruptors are coming in. Will it be enough, though? Is he going to throw down the Corruption ability? We don't see it being thrown down yet. Storm's going down on the Infested Terrans, feedbacks as well on some of the Infestors. Multiple fungals go after. Banelings are just kind of sitting there. They need to be sent in. The force fields are just too much for Vibe right now, but it looks like the amount of fungal growth will be able to clean up the rest of this army. The problem, of course, is that HerO with his beast economy will be able to rebuild very, very quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like everything's going to be killed. Vibe is actually able to win that battle, but I don't know. He just lost his gold expansion, and again, a huge hit to the economy. Now he's looking to do something because he needs to do something. Well, look at this defensive position. It's so good. High Templar spread out all over the place. In the 12 o'clock, we have a lot of cannons at the gold expansion. He has to wait for those sieging units, but they're actually under attack by a couple of Void Rays here. The Void Rays are chasing all of these Broodlords and the Infestors down. Looks like Burrow goes down, and he will be able to salvage a little bit of that, but still, Broodlords need some defense.
Yeah, I feel like that might have been a mistake to waste all that energy on Festatarians in a random position in the middle of the map there, hoping that the Void Rays would just not be paid attention to. That's really just like hoping that your opponent is terrible when you make a move like that, because it would have been much better, obviously, to bring them over to this expansion. Oh no, what is Vibe doing? He is just suiciding all of his Broodlords right now, and with no expansions up, I mean, he just lost his gold. There's the GG. He could not retake the 6th base. Game 1 going to HerO.
And that's going to do it. Game number 1 going to HerO. Vibe that game just looked completely manhandled.
Yeah, man, it did not look even at all. It looked so one-sided with HerO's Dark Templar harass. That was not... I feel like that wasn't our normal vibe, man. Like, I don't know if he was off his game. Maybe he's tired. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he just got a little bit paranoid playing against a player of HerO's caliber. But despite his high APM, we saw even in the mid-game, not up like at like 6 base or something, even the mid-game on 3 base, he had 200 energy queens. Literally every single one was at 200 energy. He had no creep spread. He had no detection against Dark Templar except for like an Overseer with his main army, so he kept taking aggression. Every single time an engagement happened, HerO killed a hatchery, at least one hatchery with Dark Templar. Every single engagement. And that's just unacceptable. You have to put those spores and spine at each one of your bases unless you're going to leave like an army there with Overseers. It's just, you can't let that happen to you.
Yeah, and on top of that, not only getting being able to, not only did he lose every single expansion that he tried to ever take, but also he put no pressure on his opponent. He actually never was in an opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to apply pressure to you. And if you let a Protoss do whatever they want to do, you're, again, going to be put in a terrible position of them having just this huge gas-intensive army. And those gas-intensive armies are probably the most important thing in your PvZ.
Absolutely.
So very critically, he needs a way to actually put pressure on his opponent, whether it be drop, Nidus Worms, something like that.
Hit it on the head, man. I was just about to say, you know what? He at that critical moment in the game where he stayed on 4 base, and I was like, you know what? He shouldn't be on 4 base versus 5 base. All right, I said that, but you know what? It kind of made sense because he was so far behind. The attack from HerO was coming forward, and then he had enough army to deal with. That was great. But then, of course, as we saw, his entire army was not able to do anything due to the cannons Templar setup. But as you said, man, what if he had gone for drops?
Yeah.
Take that entire army of Roaches, Zerglings, drop them in the main, send your Broodlords over there as well. Maybe send the Infestors to drop the 12 o'clock and drop a bunch of Infestaterrans there or something. Instead, as you said, we saw almost no aggression, no pressure from Vibe all game long. Remember when HerO took the 12 o'clock base? Vibe never scouted it. He had an Overlord right next to it, but he never went in to scout it. He completely missed it. HerO got up to 6 bases while Vibe was on 4 and had no idea what was going on. Yeah, so obviously HerO played just spot on that game. I feel like though Vibe was the one that lost, and more so than HerO just played it out standard. Right. Nevertheless, we're going to go into game number 2 and see if Vibe can shake things up a little bit. Join us. We'll be back on Zelnaga Caverns after this break.